Hey motorcycle enthusiasts! Today I'm comparing a brand name carburetor repair kit with a cheaper alternative. Let's see just how big the differences really are. I've already laid out the first O-rings, and the size differences are obvious. The O-ring on the far right is actually for the slide guide, an important part of the Suzuki JIS 500 carburetor. However, the cheaper kit doesn't include a properly sized O-ring. Instead, it comes with a slightly larger one, which is still way too small. Even worse, it's not fuel resistant, a major problem. Speaking of fuel resistance, are these seals actually gasoline proof? With the brand name product, I know they'll withstand fuel, but based on my 15 years of experience, I can tell you with certainty, the seals in the cheap kit are not fuel resistant. That's a disaster. Next up, the float bowl gasket. I measured both, and the brand name gasket is slightly thicker, making it likely more durable and resistant to wear. The cheaper gasket might be easier to install, but in the long run, I expect the brand name product to last much longer. Now let's look at the jet needle holder, emulsion tube. The brand name part is on the right, the cheaper one on the left. When measuring, I found no dimensional differences. However, the brand name version has 2 small air holes, while the cheaper one has 3. It's hard to say how this affects performance, but it proves that not all aftermarket parts are exact replicas of the original. The choke plunger is another clear example of major differences. The cheap plunger is noticeably shorter than the brand name version. To be sure, I placed the original GS 500 choke plunger next to the brand name part, and they are an exact match. The cheap plunger is the wrong size and simply won't fit properly. Now let's look at the needle jet, partial load needle. The brand name needle has 4 adjustment grooves, allowing for fine tuning of the needle height. This is crucial for fixing the GS 500's well-known mid-range power dip. The cheap needle has only 1 groove and is also significantly shorter, barely reaching into the jet holder when fully open. This will likely have a negative impact on performance. Next, we have the float needle, which is an extremely important part. If it fails, you'll either get too much or too little fuel. At first glance, both float needles look the same, but once again, the O-ring on the cheap version is not fuel resistant. Let's check out the air-fuel mixture screw. Visually, there's no difference, and the dimensions are identical, so it should work fine. The spring, washer, and plastic ring also seem to be acceptable in the cheaper kit. One small but important detail. In the brand name kit, the spring was individually packaged in a small plastic bag. In the cheaper kit, however, the spring was thrown in with all the other parts in one big bag. As a result, the 2 springs got tangled together, and it took me a couple of minutes just to separate them. The cheaper repair kit also includes 2 drain screws for the float bowl, which the brand name kit does not. Some people might find this a useful extra. Now let's get to the most critical part, the main jets and pilot jets. Let's compare them. On the brand name main jet, the size 120 is clearly stamped. This is the correct stock jet size for older Suzuki GS 500 models, ensuring the engine runs properly. The cheap main jet does not have any size marking on the top. But of course, you can always measure it yourself. However, if you look on the side, there is a 145 marking. I measured it, and it really is a 145 jet. Way too big for the GS 500. Running this jet would definitely cause major issues. Now let's check the pilot jet. The brand name pilot jet is size 40, which matches the original factory specifications. The cheap pilot jet, on the other hand, is size 35. too small, which could lead to idling issues. Conclusion: the main jet in the cheap kit is way too big. The pilot jet is too small. The choke plunger is incorrectly sized. None of the O-rings are fuel resistant. With this video, I hope I was able to demonstrate why I always choose the brand name product and why I recommend it. I strongly advise you to use a high-quality repair kit, as precise fitment and material quality are crucial. I've linked a selection of reliable repair kits in the video description. Check them out. And that's it. The repair kits have been compared, and now you know the difference. In our previous videos, we showed you how to properly clean, disassemble, and reassemble a carburetor. If you haven't seen them yet, make sure to check them out. We also have other videos covering repair kits, diaphragm replacements, and more carburetor-related topics. So don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and check the video description for all the important details.